Welcome to CivilNet. My guest today is Koulaksezian. He's from France. He's the editor and author of a very special book entitled Little Armenias, this one. It is essentially a guide that covers 94 countries within which you can find Armenian communities, food, churches, crossstones, and also shops. Robin, welcome.
Thank you, Annie.
So you traveled to 70 of the 94 countries and you found traces of Armenian communities, as we said, and culture there. What exactly motivated you to take in the project?
Well, first of all, I think that was the first time I traveled abroad from France. I was like 18 and I was traveling to Armenia, and I discovered in the same time Armenian culture and a first experience of travels. So I think that all the travels I did later, for like maybe during 10 years, being it for like living abroad for professional reasons or just on vacations, I was always trying to find local Armenians to see how they live, to see if I can like meet some of them and spend time with them, understand them, eat some Armenian local food. But the thing is that during all that time, I was always thinking that it was not easy, actually. Like when you go to a country and you say, okay, I want to meet the local Armenians, I want to go to an Armenian restaurant, I want to buy like lavash bread, or it's not easy to find. And I thought that a travel guide, like a Lonely Planet travel guide, if you travel to India, you have a book with each Indian state, and then you have like the restaurants, the monuments, the history of each city. I thought that we needed a guide that would be not like each Indian state, but each country of the world, where you have an Armenian presence, and like the same thing, like all the churches, the restaurants, the places you can buy local food. Yeah, so that was the concept, and that's why I did that book.
What surprised you the most during this journey?
I think it's how big the diaspora is, how rich it is, and how unexpectable, I think. Personal experience maybe is, I was working in Moscow for 2 years, so as an Armenian from France, like all generations, not really connected neither to Armenia, neither to like Eastern Europe, Russian Armenian diasporas. I was surprised how the Armenian diaspora in Russia is organized, has like a lot of churches in every middle-sized city of Russia, and they have like a lot of restaurants, and they have, I don't know, dance groups and chess lessons that teach Armenian. And I think as a French Armenian, I was very impressed and surprised as how that big diaspora in Russia, which is the first one in the world, and France being the third one, have similarities. So it's like I was seeing Armenians growing up in a country exactly as maybe Armenians did in France 7 years ago. And that similarity made me think really like we have a lack of connections. We need to have more connections and understand each other more to help each other on a lot of subjects. But yeah, what surprised me was the size of it in general.
So you talked about unexpected things you saw in Russia. Let me come to this question. Which were the most unpredictable countries where you found the Armenian heritage? I assume that the Armenian community is influenced also by each country, and it has its own specificities. So what were those specificities?
The more I was traveling, the more I was thinking, yeah, then there is nothing that is unexpectable, because you've seen like so many unexpectable things. I have like few examples, I don't know, but maybe one example I think of it now is like the Haidun, the Armenian the Armenian house in Chile, in Santiago de Chile, so in South America. We know about like diaspora in Argentina, a bit in Brazil, Uruguay, but in Chile there are like much less. There are a few hundred Armenians that are active in the community, and they were like a group of 10 local Armenians that decided, especially an architect, they decided to build a great Armenian house, which is now like a wonderful house in a good neighborhood, and you have like a co-working space, a rooftop, and like every Armenian and non-Armenian like to hang out there, and they did create a real real piece of Armenian culture and a strong piece of Armenian identity in a city where, according to the number of Armenian, you would not expect this kind of like wonderful building. I invite you to check it out. There are articles about it. Yeah, every Armenian community will have its specificities because they are more or less integrated in the local society. So of course, if you take the same example as South America, they are very like they really have Latin American culture too. And I've been invited by people I've met a few days ago at their wedding in Buenos Aires. So like just to show how strong the connections could be. And I was so impressed because like the wedding, an Armenian wedding in France would be like half French wedding, half Armenian with French songs, but also Armenian thing. And there it was exactly the same, but like a mixture between like Latin music and Latin wedding and the Armenian wedding in the same time. And really you understand how keeping the Armenian identity and integrating a local society make every single Armenian in the world like much richer. And that was very interesting, that experience in Buenos Aires.
So you talked about the specificities right now, but you are yourself an Armenian from the diaspora, and you actually noticed, I guess, some differences and also commonalities between Armenians from the diaspora and from Armenia, Armenians from Armenia living in Armenia. What are those differences or commonalities, or would you say that we have something in common way much bigger than our differences?
Well, first, for me, there is no like two identities as Armenians from Armenia and Armenians from the diaspora. Like the differences, it's like you just have several million people, maybe 10 million, and each one of them has its own specificities and differences. Like in the diaspora itself, you have a lot of different. Let's just take my example. I'm half French, half Armenian. I didn't grow up at all in an Armenian environment, and so I have my vision of Armenianness that is like different from other French Armenians that are maybe like 100%. Maybe they went to Armenian school. So even if you take France, you're gonna have like dozens of profiles of what it is to be Armenian. So there is nothing like diaspora and Armenia. We have like Armenian identities that are very diverse. That's why it's rich, and that's why I really think that knowing as much Armenians as possible in the world from different places can just like give you wealth and knowledge. So
if all the Armenians from the diaspora or Armenia are different according to you, what is the common thing between those? What keeps them?
The commonality is the fact that we all feel that we are Armenians, that we have a common history, that we share common roots. The fact that we are Armenians, we know we consider being Armenian as being something important in our lives. We share roots, we share history, and only that thing, even though we are like totally different individuals, is stronger than everything. And I think that might be the only commonality, sharing a common history and a common future, and being aware of it is like the main commonality and is the most important one.
In the introduction of your book, you write, many Armenians of the diaspora during their touristy or professional travels ask themselves if the city they're visiting has an Armenian community. If yes, who are they? What are the places to visit to meet them? Why do you think Armenians do this? Why do they need to like travel and always try to meet Armenians or the Armenian community or know more about Armenian heritage or traces in a country that is not specifically related to Armenia?
Well, first, why do I think? Because I did it. Like when I was traveling, I was looking for it. Then I've heard it also, like a lot of friends I know, family, parents, like that when they travel, they are also looking for Armenian places, just being at a restaurant where they're gonna try local Armenian food. And then it doesn't mean like you have to spend 1 week just doing Armenian restaurants and churches. But if you travel anywhere, you have like a week of vacation or a week of business trip, you can spend 2, 3, 4 hours just to meet local Armenians, and that will make your trip much more interesting, much more special, because that gives you something. The fact that we are Armenians, and traveling, you can meet locals that are also Armenians. So it's like you're gonna have people that are your brothers, your sisters, whatever, like your fellow Armenians, but they are 100% Argentinian, or 100% Russian, or 100% German, or 100% French, or American, or whatever. They really have everything to show you about their country, but in a friendly way, because they're also Armenian. So I think it's not something you have to do, but I'm sure like if you don't do it, you miss something.
Okay. And also, if we go back to the book is currently actually available in French, but I think you have some plans to have it in English version.
Yeah, so for now it's just in French. It has been published in France, and I was like doing a presentation in France and French-speaking countries. But the thing now, yeah, is we need an English translation, because like for a better exposure and availability of the book. I will publish it. It will be published and available in English in next November 2019. I'm working with the Gulbenkian Foundation to do that translation, so I hope it will be available very soon. It's like we need our Lonely Planet guide for the Armenian diaspora, and of course in English.
And so maybe in the future in Armenian too?
It will be also in Armenian, Russian and Spanish. I'm working on it, but like it's a huge work, so but yeah, I'm working on it, and it will be in several Lonely Planet guys in like 10 languages, I think, so we need the same.
Okay, thank you very much, Robin. Thank you for watching, and continue to follow CivilNet.